I'm a firm believer that characters are, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of any story.
Mm.
I mean, if you take Sam and Frodo, it doesn't matter what story you're writing. You could just have them going out for lunch, and half the world would still want to read that because you know those characters, you know how much they love each other and their relationship and how strong it is. Sherlock Holmes and Watson, these classic pairings of when you put
Batman
them
and Robin.
together,
Yeah.
Batman and Robin. When you have these two characters and you know their relationship and you know who they are at their core, any story, any shenanigans they get up to, you are going to know how they're going to react and you're going to enjoy that story because you know how those two people are going to go on their adventure.
Welcome to the Academy for Adventurers podcast, where every story is a new expedition. Join us as we explore real-life adventures, battles, and moments of growth from people forging their own path. Because life isn't ordinary, it's an adventure worth living. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Academy for Adventurers podcast. Wow, this is our first repeat guest. Tommy, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
We're so happy to have you, man. Yes, yes, yes. So, I want to read your bio because you sent me a really funny bio, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. So, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So, alrighty. Once upon a time, a bored lawyer and avid reader, tired of his favorite characters becoming background noise to the heroes of the story. And he took it upon himself to write something different. Thus, I'm Not the Hero was born. A few books later, Tommy has dropped the lawyer gig. Wow, that not many people get to say that. I love that. And he decided writing full time is worth giving a chance. Born in Florida, Tommy rolled a high luck stat and met his wife early in life. They live in Virginia with their dog, with endless energy, and two boys that even wear the dog out. You can find Tommy writing, sipping another cup of coffee, or reading anything he can get his hands on. Man, this bio is better than the first one. Yeah.
Thanks.
Let's talk about the dog. What kind of dog do you have? Yeah.
We have a golden doodle. She is 4 years old. She is pure sweetness. Like she will roll on her back and just let anybody come up and play with her.
Yeah.
She loves running around in the backyard with my boys. She does not give them the ball back though when they throw it, which really makes them mad. But yeah, no, we've had her. We got her when my oldest was 3,
Mm.
and she's been part of the family ever since.
Wow, that's awesome. I've got a little boy right now. He's not even fully 3 months yet. But what I noticed was immediately how curious my dogs were, and they're super sweet to him, you know. And so I really resonate with you on that, and I can't wait to see when my kid's a little bit older, so that way I can see him interacting with the dogs. I can't wait. And your boys
It's
have a lot of energy, huh?
Oh God, they're
Yeah.
yes, so
Yeah.
much. It's they love our dog too so much. Like, and she has adopted them as her brothers. If we're roughhousing or wrestling in the living room, she will start barking at me like, "Get away from them!" She's so protective of them. It's amazing. But
Yeah.
yeah, I have a
Yeah.
3-year-old and a 7-year-old, and
Wow.
they are 100% boy. We have to get outside every day and run off some of their energy. It's it's so much fun. We've got our 7-year-old starting soccer in a few weeks, and he does Boy Scouts, and I mean he's all out there. Yeah,
Nice,
yeah.
nice. How's he liking the scouts?
Oh, he's loving it.
Yeah,
We just had a den meeting yesterday, and he's
yeah.
watched all of the fifth graders move on to Boy Scouts, and it was like their big
Mm.
moving on ceremony, and he's like, I can't wait to do that. And I'm like, you've got many years before you get that old, but I'm so excited you love it that much.
Yeah, yeah. That's wonderful. What an adventure. What an adventure. I hope, you know, how, because you've got two boys. And so I've just got a little boy right now. And how has it been, man? Like, how is it having two boys, you know? How is that, man?
Well,
Yeah,
so for me, I'm the oldest of four boys.
yeah,
So I'm the oldest brother. I have three younger brothers.
yeah,
For me, it's very normal. It's
yeah,
exactly what I grew up with. All of the fart jokes, all of the being inappropriate, all of the roughhousing and running and energy. My poor wife is the oldest of four girls, so
yeah,
every day is a learning adventure for her.
yeah.
But she's adopted into becoming a boy mom so fast and so wonderful. It's so much fun watching her, talk to them and help redirect their energy into something a little bit more productive than building up Legos and breaking them down again. But it's a lot of finding time for activities. It's a
Mm,
lot of talking
mm,
about healthy emotions and expressing yourself. As I'm sure you know, the little boys and testosterone and all of
sure.
that anger that they'll get, and then
Yeah,
teaching them the proper way to take a deep breath and
yeah,
think about your mindset and how you want to move. Like our oldest, moving to a growth mindset. That's his big thing. Is like figuring out a way to turn a negative into a positive, and instead of getting stuck and angry that your little brother broke something, why don't you help him build another something that's his?
yeah.
It's a constant, exhausting adventure that I wouldn't trade for the worlds.
You wouldn't trade for the world, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in for
Wow.
a treat.
I know. I know. I really can't wait. Maybe I could pick your brain on this a little bit. One of my personal fears as a father is finding the balance between introducing him to the activities that I would like for him to like, not pushing too much, but also not just like not pushing at all. Like how have you leveraged that? How have you leveraged that?
So I'll start with like reading. I'm an avid reader. My wife loves to read. One of the things we did with him from literally 3 4 months old is we or earlier we would just read to him constantly every night. Whenever he was up from a nap, we'd read books. Got to the point where he would bring a little cardboard book with him in the car as like his little security blanket thing.
Yeah,
um, and so we've always encouraged reading for him. And once he got into elementary school and he was reading, we are luckily his school instituted a 20-minute reading homework assignment, and it's not like a mandatory thing. It's just like, hey, we think you should have your kid read for 20 minutes. So we started saying, when you get home from school, let's read for 20 minutes. We'll all sit down, we'll read a book, we'll have some calm down time, get our energy, like relax from being at school. The
yeah,
kid is in second grade and he reads at a fifth, sixth grade level. He's constantly reading. We go to the library every weekend and check out 4 or 5 books, and he's done with them before the next. Like, it's so fun watching him do that. And we're starting that with the 3-year-old too. We're constantly reading to him, especially at bedtime, during the weekends, during when he gets up from a nap. Um, but beyond reading, it's also just showing the activity, being present with the activity. So um, we have a home gym. My wife and I both will go out and work out, and we try to do it at times when, like, my wife will go work out more in the afternoon, but the boys know, oh, mom's in the gym, she's working out. And so my 7-year-old now has started saying, like, oh, can I go hang out with mom in the gym, and I'm gonna just do some push-ups, or I want to walk on the treadmill. Like, just he's interested in it because he sees
yeah.
us doing it.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing, is not
Yeah.
pushing it, but just showing this is
Modeling it.
something that I enjoy and I'm
Mm,
doing it consistently. Maybe
mm,
you would like to try it one day too. If you do, awesome. I will sit here and I will talk to you and I will teach you. And if you don't, that I'm not going to force my kid to love Star Wars, although he ended up loving Star Wars. I'm not going to make him read my books. If he wants to read them, awesome. Uh, but yeah, it's just, I think, being present and showing them what you love. And I mean, honestly, most little kids want to love the same things that their parents do. In my experience, they follow us around like ducks. You know, they want to do everything you do, all the fun things.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like, well, it sounds like you've handled that quite well then, and you've been able to model and show them by your example. I'm certainly hoping to do the same thing. Like this is one of the conversations that my wife and I have often, particularly the health one, because it's not simply about, like, I think unfortunately the people that are outside of the world of exercise and training and physical fitness, they just see it as a weight management tool, but honestly it's so much more than that, because you you invigorate yourself, you give yourself energy, you give yourself an outlet for stress, you build something positive, you get sunlight, like if you work out outside, and so I'm so enheartened to hear that, because right now in the phase that we're in, it's so much a learning curve, and it's so much of a prioritization, as we were talking about before the podcast. And so I'm very glad that you and your wife have a system that seems to be working quite well. I can't
Yeah.
wait to get to that point. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
No, it's absolutely amazing. I love watching him get interested in the same things. He has definitely gotten to the point where he recognizes mom and dad are happier on a day when they could go work out. They get those endorphins, they get that dopamine hit. They're able to, you know, push through all that stress into working out, and then they come back and they're ready to, you know, do whatever fun activity we're going to do next.
That's the other thing too, that I think there's a huge misconception for people that are outside of that world, is that they see it as a net energy loss versus a net energy gain. Like, what do you
I'm
think about that? Yeah.
out in the middle of the day, so will I get the kids off to school. I write for a few hours, and then around 11, I'll go out and I'll work out for an hour and a half.
Mm,
And when I come back in, I'm just like, okay, now the second half of my day begins, and I feel revigorated. I
mm,
feel ready to get back to writing, to eat some lunch, and then jump back on. And it
yeah.
kind of gives my brain time to reset, especially like if I'm writing something really difficult or the words aren't flowing. Sometimes just going out and restarting my day kind of helps me break that mindset up and go. I don't think, I mean, my wife works out at night, and she's tried to work out in the morning, and she will then be tired all day. But I think it's one of those things of the more you do it at a certain time, the more your body gets used to it, and then starts, being like, oh, okay, well, now you're going to have to get through the rest of your day. So we're just going to keep your energy. I love that feeling of being a little sore now. It's such a weird thing to like to reach that point where, okay, well, now I'm working out and my muscles hurt the next day. Like, oh, I did legs yesterday, so now it's harder to get out of bed. Like, I kind of like that. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I
Yeah.
think most people end up liking that feeling. It's
Yeah.
a sign of growth that you're seeing result, or you're feeling results in your
Yeah.
workout.
When did you start exercising on a regular basis?
uh Want to say like 2 years ago. I mean, I tried like 3 or 4 years ago to get into the gym, and I did for almost a full year. I went almost every morning, and I was waking up at like 5 a.m. and then going to the gym and then doing my full day and writing my books at night. Like, this was before I quit. And it just got to be too much. So I fell off for a little bit. I'd say I've been fully back on it for about 6 months. Our gym closed 4 months ago, so we have a nice garage, so spent a few months and built us a little home gym. So that's where we get to go now, which is just so much nicer. Like, just walk into the go out, do it, come back. And it's been absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I was always lucky growing up that I was very thin. I was
Mm.
never really had any muscle, but I didn't need to work out. Never felt that need to. I was always active and running and sports and activities and everything.
Okay.
Um, so it wasn't until my mid 30s that I was like, I'm not out of shape, but I'm not in shape anymore. Maybe I should start, walking or doing some kind of activity because, I've got young kids and I'm a older parent, I guess. It's weird to
Mm.
say that. But I had my kids in my early 30s, so not my early 20s. So I think that it's healthy to get healthy, so that I can be around for them longer. But yeah, about 4 months, I'd say I've been really going at it.
Okay. I heard something very interesting in it. It was on another podcast that I listened to. And they mentioned, that a lot of parents will, in their 20s and 30s, they'll focus on their career, and then they'll wait until they're older to have kids. And then for the first time ever, I heard someone say, what if what if people did the opposite? Like what if you had your kids in your 20s and you put the majority of your energy and time into your career in your 40s? And I was like, like it's the first time I ever heard that. And obviously I think there's pluses and minuses regardless, but what they said is like, when you're in your lower 20s and in your lower 30s, like you're just like a ball of energy. So it's like, wouldn't it be better to like raise your kids like during that time? Like I had never, it was the first person I had ever heard say it like that. What do you think
No,
about that? Yeah.
I mean, I can see that. I can see that argument being made.
Yeah.
I met my wife when I was 16 years old, and we knew right away that we were each other's person. Um, and we made a plan in high
Mm,
school, like college, kids later, or college careers, kids later. Like we knew exactly what we wanted to do. So I think a lot of the have kids now, have the kids earlier, and then have a career later. I mean, I think it can work for anybody. It's just you've got to prioritize each thing in its own time. If you're gonna have kids now, have those kids. Focus on them. Invest your time in raising good people,
yeah.
and then you can go. Hit the career path later. I mean, I'm a perfect example of that. I'm in my late 30s and I just made a massive career change. I went to law school, I was a lawyer, I did the whole thing, and now suddenly I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to write books for a living," which to
Yeah.
be fair, I've got the safety net of I can go back and be a lawyer
Yeah.
anytime I need to.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I could see either way working. It's just I think it's one of those things that depending on the person and what they want to accomplish in life. That should be the metric.
Yeah, because I thought it was really interesting because I like, as long as you take, especially if you take care of yourself, like, unfortunately, the wear and tear to the body is a little bit more noticeable than the wear and tear to the mind. But I've seen people, especially if they like their work, I've seen people work not even because they have to, but because they want to, like well into their 70s and 80s.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
dad's in his 70s. He will never retire. He every
Yeah.
few years he says, "Oh, I think I'm gonna quit and just do whatever, sail the world and cruise." I'm like, "No, you won't. We all know you won't." Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Man, it's again, I just, it's very enheartening. I'm so glad to hear your journey has been so successful in so many respects. And I know that I'm really excited for today because we've got a lot of great things to jump into, a lot of different adventures here. Let's start off. Tell me, man, what's new? Like, what's new in the business? What's new in the writing? What's new with you? Yeah.
well, with the writing, I just completed my first full year of being an author.
Wow.
I had quit as lawyer last January, so now it's like I've been doing this for a full year. Yeah. I made
Rats.
enough. I made enough last year that I could pay myself to do it again this year, and that's my goal. That's my goal every year. Pay the next year off so that I can continue to trial this out.
Mm,
Um,
mm, mm.
Book 4 of I'm Not the Hero came out in December.
Wow. Yes.
Just gonna show that beautiful art off real quick.
I have to. We were talking about the cover before the podcast. It's just fantastic. Yeah.
They are. They
Yeah.
all are. And
Yeah. Yeah.
honestly, book 5 is done, and I've seen the cover art. It is.
Even better.
Uh, oh God!
Even better.
Every time they come back, they're like, "Do you like this?" I'm like, "You guys just knock it out of the park every time." Um, but yeah, book 5 is done. It comes out in August, and I am currently writing book 6, which is the final book in the I'm Not the Hero series.
Wow.
Um, it is definitely the hardest book that I've written, both for the connection that I have with the series, and I don't want to see it go, but I've always known where the ending was, and I realized I was close enough to it that I needed to write it. I could have written another 4 or 5 books of adventures with these kids, but I was like, I think that it's time. I think it's time to reach that point that I wanted it to. And so in book 5, I was able to start the ball rolling on the end, which is the only part of the series that I knew going into it. When I started writing the series, I knew, oh, okay, these are my 2 characters. This is, the magic system, and this is how I want it to end. That's all I knew. And as I've gone through, um, as we discussed last time, I'm a
Yes.
pantser. I write everything very improv style. I write the accident reports of my characters. I've 100% stole that from another author. Um, it's it's just so much fun figuring out what these characters would do in the situations I throw them in. And quite often it goes in a completely different direction than what I thought it would be. Book 6, I'm like 20 chapters in, and thought I thought that I would be at this point at chapter 5. It took me 20 chapters to write what I thought was going to happen within the first 5 chapters, because they went off on 2 different side adventures, and I was like, this is the final book, you have to stop doing that. But
You gotta stop, Tommy.
I know. So my hope is to have that series finished in the next few months. I would love to aim for a 2026 release date on that. It's just going to depend on if I can get my amazing narrator Nick to schedule me in some time for that later this year. And then I've already got 2 other series that I've started sketching out the ideas for, new magic systems, new characters, full new series.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, man? That must be quite a surge of emotion going through you.
I'm so sad to put these characters away. The world has been so much fun to explore, to sketch out. I mean, I think the history goes back over 3,000 years that I've, gone through and explained in some details. I have way more notes than what gets into the books. So I know that, all of these other great stories. Always got in the back of my mind, I could revisit the world like a few thousand years ago and explain, what led to the current situation. Um,
There's a
but
little
I,
bit of teasing in that in the first book. I do
yeah,
try not to spoil anything much, but I do see that this certainly has the potential for a really expanded universe.
and when I started writing it, I thought, okay, well, I could blow it up. I could have them travel everywhere and have an adventure in every country and explore
Mm.
so much more things. And the more I started to, in book 4, I think it was when I really started to realize that this was a 6 book series for me. Um, there's a lot of wonderful series in my genre that go 10, 14, 15 more books. and they're incredible, and I love them, and I always want those authors to continue to write those series as long as they possibly can. But
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that with this series. I was like, okay, I think I've reached the peak of their character growth.
Mm.
I mean, you can never fully, but I've reached the points that I wanted them to reach. Um, by the time we get to book 5, Oren has the main character
Yeah.
has really come into his own. He's discovered who he is. He's discovered his power and what he
Mm.
wants, and how to be how to be unique within the group, how to be true to himself while also helping others. Um, and I was like, I think that's, that's good. He's fine. Now let's wrap up the main story. Let's figure out all of the other things that I'm not going to go into because it's just
Yeah.
so much spoilers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's been fun. It's bittersweet. I love the series. I can't wait for it to be complete and everybody to read it and hopefully love it as much as I do. But I'm also like itching to start writing this one of my next series. I have two ideas and I bounce back and forth between which one I want to really write next.
Mm.
Um, but it's like a new video game that you've got or sitting on the counter. You're just like, I keep glancing over at it like,
Yes.
I really should finish this one first, but that one looks so good.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked a little bit last time about some of the inspirations that helped you come up with this. And we talked a little bit too about like your relationship when you were younger with your brothers. And for the audience that let's pretend there are people here that have no idea what your series is about. Like, can you give us a 30,000 foot view of that?
Yeah, so two main there the main character is Oren, and Oren's best friend is Daniel, and they are high school students who are walking home from school, and they're hit by a truck, and they die, and they go to another world with magic, and it's a lit RPG, which means it's a fantasy progression story with video game like elements. The magic appears like a screen to them. They can increase their strength. They can buy spells from the system. Um, it's a super fun genre. You should check it out. There's a whole bunch of wonderful options.
Yes,
Um,
yes, you should.
and as they are summoned to this new world, Daniel is given the class hero. He's supposed to save the day and save the world, and Oren is not. And this is Oren's story. This is the story of the best friend who accidentally comes along and has to keep his friend from doing all the dumb things that all of the heroes in the fantasy stories do. Don't go run into that building. Don't go do that stupid thing. Um, and it was just it just popped into my mind one night, like all of these side characters from these stories that I love so much, and I was like, I want more of that guy, but the hero left and went on to the next town. It's
Yeah.
like, well, what if this was his best friend and he could keep going along with him and keep growing with him, but continue to give him that great advice of don't do that thing. And that's how I'm Not the Hero started. um,
Mm.
and then it just kind of morphed into this whole world of adventure and discovering who you are, finding found family, taking those friendships that they made and adopting them kind of as their brothers and sisters, and really just leaving their mark on the world while discovering who they are and who they want to be.
Mm, mm. And I have to say on a personal note that it is a very very enjoyable read. I've loved it, and I cannot wait to get to book two because I've really liked how things have progressed. And honestly, I I know I think I'm pretty sure I mentioned this last time as well, but it really has that vibe of it really has a little bit of that kind of Frodo and Samji vibe from the Lord of the Rings. It's like that very closely tight knit relationship, and I see a lot of that here too in a very different way, but it's so yeah, it's like for me when I read books, same thing if I'm playing a video game, if I'm watching an anime. For me, the story is the most important for me, But the most important element of the story for me oftentimes are the relationships. It's like, how are the relationships being developed? How are
Exactly. Yeah.
these characters growing? What are they learning? What are they teaching one another? And there's a lot of that in this series. It's very, very, very intimate. It's very
Thank
intimate.
you. Thank you. No, I'm
Yeah.
a firm believer that characters are, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of any story. I
Mm,
mean, you could take if you take Sam and Frodo, it doesn't matter what story you're writing. You could just have them going out for lunch, and half the world would still want to read that because you know those characters, you know how much they love each other and their relationship and how strong it is. Um, Sherlock Holmes and Watson, that these classic pairings of when you put
Batman
them
and Robin.
together,
Yeah.
Batman and Robin. When you have these two characters and you know their relationship and you know who they are at their core, any story, any shenanigans they get up to, you are going to know how they're going to react and you're going to enjoy that story because you know how those two people are going to go on their adventure. And I think that's one of the reasons I love this story so much. Oren and Daniel stepped out and onto my mind just fully formed. I knew exactly who Oren was. I knew exactly who Daniel was. They're not based particularly on any one person, just kind of like an amalgamation of people I've met over my life. But it was the friendship, the core friendship was, that best friend that you had in high school that you would have done anything for, that you showed up for, even if they weren't, within your particular clique at that time. They were someone you knew the whole from growing up, your
Mm,
brother, your cousin, it doesn't matter. Everybody's got somebody that they can remember from, their childhood of like, oh, that was my best friend. And that's what they are at this time, and then their relationship has to change a little bit as they go through the series because, Daniel is the hero and he's saving the day, but Oren is also in the background doing heroic stuff. And it's, they have to learn who they are in this world compared to who they were in the last world. And it's so much
mm,
fun to
yeah.
write these characters. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to miss them.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that most people don't have the experience of being the creator of the characters. Most people are in the audience, right? And I know that even as an audience member, like I have many moments in my life where a series that I watch will end, and then it leaves like, I think it became known as like the show hole. They called it for a while. That like there was this one commercial I remember years ago, and it's like, oh, the show hole. It's like comes back when you watch a series and the show's over. So you have this hole in your heart, right? And so I can only imagine that for you, that must be like very, very much intensified, because these are not just you're not an audience member, you're the creator. And so I can only imagine how it must feel, bittersweet, I'm sure, to say the least.
It's also very stressful.
Yeah.
Book six, and I think this is the reason book six is coming a little slower.
Mm,
There are so many different things that I want these characters to realize, and
mm,
so many things I want them to happen to them or for them before the end of the series.
mm.
Like I know how it's going to end. I know every person and where they're going to end up and what's going to happen and who's going to live and who's going to die and who, like everything I've got planned
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
But it's stressful in that even if I pull it off 100% of how I want it to end, I know that somebody out there is going to be like, oh, I wanted I wanted this to happen for this person, and like I don't want to write somebody else's story. This is my story first. People are always going to not like particular things, and that's okay. You're allowed to not like every choice I make.
Right.
But like you said, I know that feeling of watching a show and being like, "Are you kidding me? That
Yeah.
happened?" And I really don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
Please don't leave me a review on book six saying, "Oh man, why did you do that to them?" That was the plan the
Yeah.
whole time. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was having this conversation with my best friend. We went to the Renaissance Festival here in South Florida. There's a famous Renaissance Festival that's been going on for like, I think it's over, yeah, it's definitely over 30 years, I'm pretty sure at this point. And we were talking about certain series that we've seen, like certain animes, like Attack on Titan, and My Hero Academia, Naruto. We were just talking about different plot points, you know. But one of the things that my friend is really insistent on, and one of the things that he appreciates, is when things are at stake, and when authors are not afraid to, they're not afraid to pull, they don't want to pull their punches. You know, they want those very those very intense or difficult or sad things to happen because they don't want to sacrifice the meaning and the essence of the story just to, you know, kind of create something that it's palpable, or it's what's the word, it's palatable to everybody, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's I don't know how far you are in book 1, but there is a death in book 1 that I did not want to happen.
I see.
Um
Yeah.
and
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I struggled with that because I was like,
Yeah.
I know it has to happen, but I loved that character and I wanted so much more. Like probably one of the few characters who I truly just knew who they were when they
Mm,
showed up the first time. Like I
mm,
pictured them perfectly as somebody that I had known, and I was just like, oh, this is who they are.
mm.
Mm. Oh man, that one hurt. Yeah,
Yeah.
so and I've killed a few people. I've had a few people who've come in, and I thought they were going to be a much bigger deal. I thought they were going to be major characters, and then it just didn't work on the story. I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to force it. This person, unfortunately, is not going to be part of this story. And then I've had people who I thought were going to be throwaway characters, and they are part of the crew. Like they're there.
Does
Um,
that happen, Tommy? Like, I'm
I
really
have
curious. Like, how
I
does that
have no
happen?
idea.
I'm genuinely curious. Yeah.
So Maddie, Maddie, my original plan was for them to meet the princess, the princess type character,
Mhm.
um, and to maybe have like a distant relationship where like every time she came through, she was like, "Oh, I don't like those guys." It- in my mind, Maddie was a completely different character until I started writing her, and as
Wow.
soon as I started writing her, I was like, wow, actually, I know why she's out on this carriage. I know what she's doing. I know her motivations. I know how she would react, and it's actually very different than how I thought it would happen when I started writing the scene. Um, and then somebody actually wrote in one of the comments, "Oh, I hate this character so much." And I was like, "Oh, well, now I'm definitely keeping her around." Because I am petty like that. But so she stuck around. She became part of the main team. And honestly, of all of the characters, I love Maddie's character growth the most. She is spoiled. She is very sheltered. She doesn't really know how anything outside of her power sphere works, and
Mhm.
she's
Or a little bubble. Yeah.
yeah, and as she goes through, she definitely grows. She starts learning what true friendship is. She starts learning, sometimes you need to let other people lead. And yeah, I love Maddie now. I'm actually kind of glad that that one person didn't like her because
Yeah, because her and her father Silas, at least where I'm at, they have such a major role. Like, they're very integral characters right now in the story. And I don't know if that was your plan all along, but it sounds like there were things. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
nope, they
yeah,
were. I think
yeah.
very early on in the story, Oren says something like, "We need to keep this a secret. We
Yes,
shouldn't go run off and tell
can't tell
everybody." And
them.
and
Yeah.
and I fully thought I was going to get through an entire book keeping Daniel's hero secret. That did not work
No, not even halfway through the book. Very
mm-mm,
early on. Yeah, it was
because
revealed. Yeah.
as soon as he starts interacting with Maddie and Silas more, and the secret comes out. It's hard to keep a secret like that unless you're being secretive. And Daniel and
Secrets.
started not Daniel's not good at that. And as soon as Oren and Daniel have their little scene where Oren goes off to do his own thing for a few
Mhm.
chapters,
Yeah.
um, Daniel's like, oh, okay, well, oops, and
Oops.
is not as secretive as he would have been with Oren, and that
Right.
changed the story. So again, this comes back to my I write accident reports on these characters. I just kind of imagine what's going to happen next, and then I write what they would do. I really wish that Oren or Daniel had been able to keep that secret a little longer. It would have been a fun twist, which is what I like to do. I like to take the trope and I like to turn it a little bit.
Run a little bit.
Um, but that one didn't work out. So
Yeah. But it sounds like it definitely was the right call because here you are, basically 6 books in, you know?
yeah,
I mean,
I
and this is
mean,
going to be the final book, but it sounds like that was the right choice. Yeah. You don't get to this point. You don't get published and you don't get multiple books if you're doing something wrong. That's for sure.
I
Yeah.
I really like the dungeon master Dungeons and Dragons tabletop RPG aspect of writing of no matter where the story is going, uh, being able to twist it. Like I'm sure I could have written a story where Oren and Daniel kept it a secret and their adventure would be different and they wouldn't have Maddie in the group and it would have been fun and it would have been fine, but it wouldn't have been this story. And I'm so happy that it did happen because this story now is, I mean, forever will be part of me and my life. My second grader is so excited to read this, which he will not until he is very much older. But
Okay. Because it's
but
intense. Some of the things that
yeah,
happen is intense. Yeah.
yeah.
Very
It,
intense for a 7-year-old in particular. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Nope. He knows the general gist of that. There are two friends who go to a magic world.
Yeah.
And he loves to tell people his dad is an author, which is so much fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a pride, man. What a pride in the best sense of the word. Wow.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. That's so cool, man. No, honestly, that's so cool. And you told me that you've been keeping busy. You've got several conventions that you're going to this year. Yeah.
Yeah. So March 7th, I will be at Williamsburg Book Festival. I got a table there. I was able to apply and they accepted me in. So I will be there selling some books and signing books, talking to people as they come by. I'm so excited for it. I've done two other festivals, two other book sales, like places where I've sold, and this one will be, I think, the first one where I've had a table to myself, and I'm just there. But it's going to be fun. I'm so excited, um, and that's just right around the corner in Williamsburg, so it's like 2 hours. And
Yeah.
then I got accepted to RavenCon, which is here in my city of Richmond, Virginia. I had never heard of it, and then I saw it, and I was like, "Oh God, I have to go to that."
Better be
Uh,
there. Yeah.
so I'll be there as a guest panelist. I'm really excited for that one. Balticon is in May. That's in Baltimore,
Baltimore, yeah.
which I can't believe I got accepted for that one too. Like,
Yeah.
some of my favorite authors are going to be there. Jim Butcher is going to be there. He writes the Dresden Files, which is an
That's a big.
incredible fantasy series.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, and then I this is a exclusive for you. I
Oh,
have been
okay.
accepted as a panelist at Lit RPG Con in Denver,
That's
Colorado.
huge,
That's in
man.
July.
That's huge.
That's my genre's like holy grail.
That I was gonna say. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
I was accepted last year, which and that's where like I met all my new friends, and it was so much fun. And I was so happy that they were like, "Yeah, we want you back again this year," because it's doubled in size. We had just about 1,000 people last year, 1,000 tickets, 1,000 people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we had to cap it at 2,000 this year." But yeah, the lineup is been slowly rolling out the last few days, and it's stacked. I mean, like if you've read Lit RPG in any way, shape, or form, you know somebody who's going to be there. I'm so excited.
And Colorado's such a cool place, man. I mean,
Yeah,
what a cool trip for you, man. My sister lives just outside of Denver, so it's a cool place, man.
it's
Yeah.
awesome. I did not really leave the hotel last time because there are events all the time, and then
Yes.
the convention kind of took over the lobby of the hotel.
Mm,
So I was sitting there with 20, 30 other authors and like 400 fans who would just come and like have a drink with us, and we'd all be sitting
nice,
and talking, and we moved to group.
nice.
So like I got to meet, I'm not going to name drop. I got to meet every single person in the genre, and it was so incredible. I've been to a bunch of conventions. I've been to in fandom things for my whole life, but the Lit RPG Con, it just kind of feels like a family.
Mm,
And they said this too. Like every person who went said this. It was the best convention we've ever been to. It's so relaxed. The panels were hilarious. The authors were so kind, um, and the narrators and the industry professionals. It was just it's such a great time. So if you can get out there, you should.
absolutely, and we're gonna link. Not only are we gonna link your books and all that, but we're also gonna link the. So I think for the websites for the tickets and whatnot, people that want
Yeah,
to go, we'll have everything in the show notes. Yeah,
perfect.
yeah. So I'm gonna make sure that I double back with you after for the names of the. I know you said the names, but I want to make sure I have the proper websites and all that. That way, anyone that wants to go meet you, they can do that. Yeah,
Nice, thanks.
that'll be so fun, man. Wow, wow. So it sounds like this lit RPG community is growing. It sounds like it's growing at a fast pace. Like, what if you had to put your finger on the pulse? Like, what's going on there? What's bringing life? What's bringing life there?
Okay, so
Let's go. Yeah.
this book right here,
Hmm. Dungeon crawler. Yeah, it's a famous one. Yeah,
yeah. Uh,
famous one.
Matt wrote that and put it up, I think, on Royal Road, the same website I started on. And he published them. He had everything going, and then one of the big five publishing companies was like, "Hey, we want to buy this. We want to re-put it out," and it has exploded. I mean, it's everywhere. He's getting a TV show. He's got a comic. He's got a like it's if you name it, he's got the deal now. Um,
Yeah.
and it's a great series. It's phenomenal. It's also just rose right. It has made every other book rise up as well. The whole community,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Matt is such an incredibly kind and sweet man. I got to chat with him in Denver. I got to meet him at another author thing in Dragon Con. Um, and he's so great. He kind of exemplifies like what all these authors are. He's willing to sit there and talk with just a random fan about whatever part of the book that fan wants to talk about. I saw him go in everybody dressed up as his main character at Dragon Con. There was like a few hundred people who showed up, all dressed up from characters from his book.
Wow.
And he just went out there and took pictures with them. Like it's that kind of community.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not just Matt. Like every single one of these authors who is going to be at Lit RPG Con, they're so kind. We have Discord channels where we all chat. Um, Different people will ask questions. New authors will come on and be like, hey, I'm kind of struggling with figuring out how to do this. And whether it's writing advice, whether it's how to set up an Amazon account and put up your new book on Kindle or Audible, everybody just jumps in. They're like, yeah, we've got the knowledge. We want to share it. We want more people because honestly, I kind of feel like all of the authors just want more books to read. Um, we all love each other's books. I'm part of one of my favorite parts about being a full time author is that other authors send me their books before they come out and say, hey, do you want to read this? And I'm like, yes, I do. I've been waiting for this. And now I get to read it early. This is amazing. Uh, so it's such a great community. They're all so amazing. I just can't, I cannot describe how wonderful the authors and the fans are in this genre. It's definitely definitely a fun one, and I think in the next few years we'll probably have our own section at the bookstores, just lit RPG, because there's a lot of really good ones out there.
Well, it's already happening because Dungeon Crawler was featured in Barnes and Noble as the pick of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Dungeon
yeah.
crawlers out there.
Hmm.
Oh man, what's the other one? There's a few like the Bobaverse, which is I think more progression fantasy,
Hmm.
same general field. There's a lot of really great lit RPG books that are now starting to become mainstream. I've had friends send me pictures from like Books a Million, where I'm not the hero. They find I'm not the hero at Books a Million, which is just incredible. You can buy most of the lit RPG books at Barnes and Noble or
Yes,
Books a
I
Million,
see a
or
lot of them.
you just have to order it, and they'll have to ship it straight to the store. We're trying to get more into the bookstores. It's just it's a slow process.
Yeah, but it definitely sounds like it's picking up steam, man. I mean, this is definitely looks like it's growing. It's catching fire for sure.
It is.
Yeah, that's really exciting, man. It sounds like you stepped into the world as an author at a really cool time, you know? So you're seeing this expand in real time. Yeah.
Yeah, I really think a lot of my success has just been the luck of the timing. Like I wrote this story, it just hit a particular niche that, some people wanted. Um, and this trajectory of the whole genre has just gone through the roof in the last 2, 3 years. And I mean, it seems to only continue to go up. So excited
Yeah.
to see where it goes.
Well, one of the theories that I have, and I think this is happening just throughout all communities really, is I think that people are just getting hungry for authentic connection, man. Like people want to do things together. They want to share their interests, outside of a pure like chat room. Like people
Hmm.
want things in person. People want to get out there and just actually have adventure, not just behind the screen anymore. That's what I think. That's one of my theories anyway. Yeah.
No, I believe it. Like I said, there's a Discord channel for Lit RPG Con where people just chat literally all year long. And I mean, it's February. People are planning what they're going to make to bring to the convention, whether that's cookies, whether that's hand soap. Like people
Yeah.
want to be like, oh, I want to bring stuff. I want to share with the people that we're going to meet. I can't wait to let's figure out where we're going to go to eat on Saturday morning in 5 months. And I'm like, this is
Wow.
incredible. Like the
Yes.
community, the people who are like, oh, we are already planning how awesome, how hard we're going to party together when we get to Denver. And it's like, it's so much fun watching and being a part of that. And just being able to watch these connections grow and watch new people come in and immediately be adopted. Oh hi, I'm the new person today, and everyone's like, okay, here's all the things you need to know. What kind of books do you like? Let's give you recommendations. You liked this one, you're gonna like this one. You didn't like this one, you probably won't like that one. And it's so much fun watching people help the newbies discover the best parts for them of the genre, because it covers such a wide array, whether you like more cultivation, whether you like crunchy numbers, which means like lots of math, whether you
Yeah,
just
lots
want
of
a
math.
little bit more progression fantasy, which means like less math, no math. Um, and that's what's so much fun. There's a little bit of everything in this genre, so you can find what you're looking for pretty easy if you know somebody to talk to.
And our mutual friend, Laura Lee, that gets more into the psychological elements. That's another big thing too.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
I love Allie. She's
Sure.
she's the
Yeah,
best.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. That I think that what how I see this as just a consumer and as an outsider, like I'm really seeing this as an antidote, like a very countercultural push where everything now is like you order something and you get it in 5 minutes. You want something, you can get it now. And like seeing a healthy dose of planning and anticipation and seeing that, I'm so happy to hear that, because that is like, that's part of the fun, right? Like I tell like my wife sometimes, you know, we're watching Attack on Titan right now, and she's like, "Oh, I want to know what happens," and it's like being able to stay in tension, like being able to just savor that, like that's part of the fun, like that slow burn, like that's so important, you know. And I think that we need to master that again, like master the art of like enjoying the process, staying in tension, and just have healthy doses of anticipation for life, man. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
part of the thing that draws people to lit RPG is the numbers go up. So
The
it's
numbers go up. Yeah,
yeah, because you know, as you gain the experience, as you do whatever that magic system is, your numbers go up, your strength score, your intelligence, your magic power, whatever the
the amount of
magic
damage you
system.
do, all that stuff.
Exactly. But to get to that, there needs to be some sort of actual progress. There needs to be some kind of growth.
Yeah,
You know, whether that's killing monsters, whether that's completing quests, whatever the story is about. Um, and there's so many great moments of watching a character from or reading a character in a book and watching them want to do this thing that they really, you know, oh, I saw this other guy cast fireball and I really want to be able to cast fireball. You're not going to be able to cast fireball. It's a growth thing. You need to slowly work your way up. You need to earn it. And I think that's something that a lot of people connect with is, yeah, the numbers go up is fun, but the character has to earn it. They have to really struggle. They have to go through that um, that battle to
yeah,
figure out how they're going to get to the point where they can cast fireball or whatever their end goal is.
yeah. Because you and I both know this, because we both play video games. You know, we know that if you get a character that just does max damage, like that's pretty boring. You know, like that's boring at level one. You know, like I play a lot of role playing games, mostly Japanese. You know, mostly JRPGs, a lot of Final Fantasy, a lot of Octopath Traveler, all sorts of games like that, and other spin off series too. That's Square Enix. They're my favorite publisher of video games, and it's like it's not fun if you just get, you know, everyone thinks it's fun for like 5 minutes. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you just one shot everything, it's fun for 5 minutes, but then you get bored. I don't know. I get bored anyways. Like it doesn't last
No,
that.
no.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm in the same genre. I love all of those. I play Final Fantasy 8 and or 7
yeah,
pretty much every other year. Um, but
yeah.
Final Fantasy 8 I have on the computer, and it's actually very easy to hack into the little chocobo game and give yourself max stats so that
Right.
your character at like level 10 has 999 strength, 9,999 hit points.
Hmm.
And I've done that before where at the very beginning of the game, my characters are maxed out and it is boring. Like you, you one hit every single thing and then you're just reading a story, which is great if you haven't played the game 5 times and you just want to read the story. But um, it's much more fun to try it from the other way and play Final Fantasy VIII of never level. There's a way that you can run through the whole game and only level like twice.
That's insane.
Um, it's I've never been able to do it. It's
That's
absolutely
insane.
crazy, but
Yeah,
it's so much fun to actually play the game and you know be the normal level that you're supposed to be at each checkpoint.
yeah. And that's like definitely every choice matters in that. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned to me too when we were chatting before. You mentioned to me that you personally had like a big growth and battle moment happen to you. Yeah, you want to talk about that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, I think all authors struggle with imposter syndrome.
Mm,
It's something that every person I've talked to is just like, yeah, no, occasionally you're gonna read a review and you're gonna be like, oh man, this is the worst. Personally, I've stopped reading my reviews because it's just
really?
healthier for me psychologically. And the reviews aren't for me; they're for other people who want to read that book and they want to research and find what people liked, what people didn't like, and that's fine. Like if that's your thing, go read reviews, go write reviews. That's cool. Um, but I was at Dragon Con. I was talking with a fellow author, and I said something. Oh, I can't believe I'm here. Like, this list of people is ridiculous. Why? How did I get here? And he turned to me and he just goes, "Shut up." I was like, "What?" And he was so blunt. He was
Yeah.
so like, I don't want to hear that from you. He's like, you've made it. Like, I've read your books. I've seen people who've read your books. This
Yeah.
is you. You're an author. You deserve to be here. Stop hating on yourself. And I think it was just one. It was somebody I really respect. I love his books. I love how wonderful he is. And then also, I just wasn't expecting him to tell me to shut up. And it kind of shocked me a little bit. I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, if he said that, maybe I should start trusting myself a little bit more. Maybe I do deserve to be up here and chat with these other people. I don't think I'm gonna be the best author ever, but
Mm.
hey, I've got 5 books, 4 books, almost 6 books out.
Yeah.
People read it. People tell me that they like it sometimes, and that should be
Yeah.
enough for me. When I started writing the series, my whole goal was it's a story that I had inside that I wanted to share. And if one person said, "Hey, I really liked that," and then they never thought about it again, that's good enough for me. So the fact that I now get to sell enough of these to, you know, do this full time is mind blowing. And it just kind of started this whole cycle in my brain of stopping myself from trying to stop myself from feeling like an imposter, and trying to realize that, I am an author. I can do this. I can help other people do this. And you know maybe I should stop thinking down on myself like that.
The first time that my wife saw like a really, really, really negative comment on one of my YouTube videos, like she knows me and she knows that I'm a really emotional guy, and for better or for worse, she's like she prepared me. She's like, hey babe, look, like, there's this guy. He just, for whatever reason, he chose to say that. Don't let it stop you from making videos. Don't let it stop you. Like, don't let that kill your momentum. And it's so strange because it was completely out of place. It made no sense. And so I read it, but since I had the mental preparation, it didn't affect me at all. But I'm thinking to myself, man, like if I was maybe 15 years younger, and if I was like just getting started and I read something like that, like maybe that would have stopped all my forward momentum, And it's like I asked myself, like, when it comes to comments and reviews, I think, like, to contrast what you said with your good friend at the convention that you respect, and he said something blunt, but it's coming from a good place. Contrasting that with like people that just say things and it comes from a whatever place it comes from. It's so strange. I just find it so strange. And I think you and I, different but similar in that, like, I think we have to learn how to parse out, like, because it's one thing for you to get a negative review or for me to get a negative comment, that it's like someone that legitimately like read your content or just like disagrees, and they just write out a very well thought out, maybe it's not a positive review, but you can tell that at least they took the time to like really pay attention. They're not just trying to break you down to break you down. Like, they just have a different point of view. There's a big difference between that and someone that just wants to watch the world burn, as they say in The Dark Knight. Alfred told that, yeah, to Bruce. Yeah.
No, no, I and some advice I got from another author, which I thought was absolutely incredible, was read every review or every comment as if it's a 12-year-old boy commenting anonymously on the internet. And I, it's hard
Yeah.
to do that every time, but it
Yeah.
did kind of put it into perspective of like, you
Yeah.
don't know who it is on the other side. You don't
Yeah.
know what's going on in their life. Like, maybe when they were reading this, they were just having a really week, and so it just didn't resonate with them. And I'm sorry, like, if you write a review like that's just, oh, this is trash and I hate it, that's one thing. Like, that's, I'm not going to read that. I'm not going to care about that. But
Right.
if you write a review and you're like, oh, well, I didn't like how this character made these choices, I would have done this. Well, that's cool. Go
Yeah.
write your own story and you have your characters do that.
Yeah.
It's when people are like, oh, hey, I noticed you had this character do this, and I thought that was very out of character. because, earlier they said this. That's the kind of thing that I'm like, I like that. I'm
Mm,
going to need to explain why they made that choice. And luckily, I have my Patreon and my Royal Road readers, so I get that review
you get
pretty
that.
early. So
Mm-hmm.
I can, go back and change little things here and there if they are egregious enough to where I need to fix them. Um, and most authors have ARC readers. They send out their advanced reader copies so people can do the same thing. Uh, it's it's a very different. I think that putting reviews and comments on in one bundle is different because there's a whole spread of different things, like from the people who you shouldn't care about their opinions to the people who you should. And I think that's what we need to do is, surround yourself with people who are going to give you honest opinions, but that you care about their opinions, and creating a community of people who will call you on your shit, but who will also, give you the positive reinforcement that you need to continue going after your dream.
Yeah. If you had to give one solid major piece of guidance or advice to any aspiring author here in the audience, like what would you tell them?
Man, so there's so many different variations of this that I've heard. Write what you know, write what you love. Um, I think that the main thing is just write.
Mm,
Just write.
mm,
90% of being an author is just sitting down and actually writing the story. The story that you write today might not be the story that, blows up and gets you a six-figure deal with one of the big five publishing companies. But every time you put pen to paper or, type, you are expanding your skill set. You're learning what works, what doesn't work. You're learning your own voice. And once you've got your voice, finding that story that other people are going to want to pick up and read is just a matter of time.
yeah.
I lucked out with I'm Not the Hero. This series is, my first one. I put it out there and I had all this success. That's not how this works. Every time somebody asks me on a panel, like, how did you become an author? I'm like, you don't want to follow my advice. This is not how it happens. Um, all the authors I've talked with, they're always like, I wrote 10, 15 things before I got my first book, which is terrible. And then I got my second series, which was also terrible. And then I got my third series, and that was actually pretty good. And, like, that's what's so much fun about talking with all these authors is like you get all of these crazy stories about, oh, I didn't even know you had books out before this series that I love. Yeah, well, nobody does because I don't sell them. They don't sell. Um, so yeah, just write. The more you practice, the better you'll get. Join a community of people a writing community. There's so many different options out there. Um, People who will give you advice, who will give you constructive feedback. Um, Criticism for criticism's sake, I don't think is a good thing. But helping somebody with story structure or dialogue or pacing, whatever it is you're struggling with, you can find people who will help you with that.
Mm,
Also, you don't need to pay people for that.
mm.
There are so many great free resources out there, or actual, writing communities. That, yeah, just write.
Yeah, that's a beautiful piece of advice, and I'm sure you remember, and if you don't, I remember asking you how your in the first podcast how your career in law helped you as an author. And I think that's one thing too that I know I know you keep saying that you lucked out, and I'm certainly of the same opinion that there is luck for sure. But I also think part of what probably gave you an edge is it's not just that you wrote the book. It's all the time and energy and effort that you throughout your own life, through reading, through writing, through learning, through watching, through everything, like it all culminated. And maybe that's a big part of it too. It's like it all came together and you took all that knowledge from all the different sources and you kind of put it forward, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think I could have written this book earlier in my life. I needed all of the experiences, all of the stuff that I went through until that point to be able to create the characters that I did, to be able to create the world and the magic and everything. So it's definitely a timing of my life, as well
Mm,
as my history of in law and watching all
yeah.
of the shows and anime and video games.
Yes. Yes.
Without all of that, Oren and Daniel would be very, very different.
Isn't that so fascinating? I think that's one of the major similarities that I see between writers and coaches is that any experience that you go through in life, positive or negative or in between, it's all useful because you can just bring that into a story, or I can bring it into a session, or I can bring it into a podcast. It's like everything in life is useful, you know? Isn't that interesting, huh? That's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, no, positive or negative, it's teaching you. Like life is all about learning and continuing to push yourself forward. And whether it's a positive experience or a negative experience, you get to take that and you get to grow. So, yeah, I agree 100%.
Is there anything today that we haven't talked about that you'd like to talk about that we didn't tap into?
Uh, no, man, I mean, we kind of hit everything. Yeah, no, it's always fun just chatting with you. I mean, we've been going for an hour. I feel
Just
like it's been
about
like 10
hour
minutes.
10. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just right falling right back into it. It's great.
No, it's beautiful, man. No, fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I learn a lot from you, man. I learn a lot from you got so many great ideas, and I don't just say it to say it. Like, I thoroughly do enjoy reading your work. My pace
Thank you.
did slow down a bit after having the infant, but that's
Completely acceptable. Hey, I've been there twice. I get it.
you
Okay.
get it, you get it. Yeah, so it's not just an excuse. But no, everyone for everyone that's watched, and will watch, we're gonna have all of Tommy's work in the show notes. Please support him. We do need people that can write, because in a world where things are becoming increasingly more like fast and AI and all that stuff, like the brains that put this work together, like, they're so important for society, because we're building culture through these works. These are works of art. And so please consider purchasing copies, if not several. He's got a fantastic book series. Check him out at the conventions. We're going to have that included in the show notes. That way, if you want to meet him, you can go meet him in person. Yeah. Thank you, Tommy, so much for coming on.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a joy. All right, everyone. Remember, your life is an adventure, and just like any character in a book, you are the hero of your own story. So keep going, don't quit, and we'll see you next time. Keep adventuring. All righty. Bye, Tommy. Thank you so much.